Hey, what's up? This is Austin.
Aloy here.
Delaware here.
I'm Kenneth.
And Zillian here.
So today we're going to talk about a topic that's inspired by recent events. So we're going to talk about conflict resolution. So in the first place, what has conflict resolution got to do with Agile or Scrum? I guess as Scrum Master, Agile coaches, we have to manage different stakeholders and uh, conflict does arise and perhaps sometimes we need to facilitate them. So, yeah. Anyone want to share your experiences or with facilitating conflict resolution?
Yeah, for conflicts, I mean, when you're working in a team, there will always be conflicts, and it varies from degree from one team to another. And yeah, I mean, the intent always is to have this, you can call it, some call it like healthy conflicts, or others call it like productive dissent. So, experience-wise, I had a lot of extremity. Some are just saying, okay, we're good, we're good in a team. And for example, if there are only few that are quite senior or can call it subject matter experts, then not much conflicts will be arising. But if there are two or more conflicting, I mean, two or more subject matters which are coming from different kind of background, then probably there's, yeah, most of the time it will have kind of con- conflicts, like technical conflicts.
Like, what's the most difficult kind of conflicts that you all experience?
Okay,
Yeah.
I
so
think
maybe I'll start first. The most difficult one that I probably have experienced is really if that if a person really has a high pride and doesn't even consider like lack of empathy, and it's just like everything that he thinks is all that is true and correct without considering others' opinion. And yeah, it's about actually respect for everyone. So if one person doesn't respect, then it's really detrimental to the team, and hence it's difficult if you don't have that conflict resolution, and probably you need a little bit. It's hard, actually. It's hard being an agile coach or scrum master. But if that conflict is really directed at you, then you might find another facilitator, some kind of a neutral ground to do it. That's kind of my experience. How about the others?
I think one of the worst cases of conflicts that I've experienced or I've witnessed is when someone feels like the team is against them. I think it's more of sometimes also a mindset thing. Sometimes it's not about like one particular incident, but it's maybe like an addition of a lot of the small things in the past, and then they formed a view, and the view might be that they disagree with this person or that person, or someone doesn't like them, and it's very hard to break this view once someone forms it. And so a lot of the things or the interactions you have after that would be affected by this view you've already formed. So that's one of the cases that I can think of. Anyone would like to share another case of conflict that they've, yes.
For me, I guess maybe it's not more on the pride side, or maybe it was quite interesting because it's about a bit process related as well. So technically, based on a process, this specific person was supposed to be helping out in very specific steps in the process. But it also depends on how this specific step in the process is interpreted. Is it a must that this specific mode was do it, or technically would anyone senior be able to do it? Then there's the question also of then if this other person technically has capacity reserved to support the team, then but the person is not doing that very specific role, then what's the person doing? So it can get a bit tricky when we have these kind of discussions. But end of the day, the tricky part also, what we are looking at is what I understood from that was perspectives. Sometimes it's tricky to get two different perspectives or two different people to see the correct, not I would say correct, but see the other's perspective. It's always sometimes a bit tricky because sometimes you don't get to see it from a very specific point of view, or you need a certain level of experience or certain expertise before you can see it.
Jalene's case reminds me of this case that I know about as well, where, for example, there's a new joiner who joined the team and they might not be performing very well. But because, you know, we want to give the new joiner a chance, everyone has been like supporting to the point where even after the original probation period, the rest of the team has been asked to kind of handhold the developer and still like everyone to take turns teaching the new person how to do her work like for one day each, and that causes dissatisfaction on certain people's end because they're essentially having to do that on top of their original workload because they don't want to make this a big scene or make it a big deal since they want to keep it hush hush that this new colleague isn't performing as well as they're supposed to. So they didn't factor in the support needed from other colleagues, and that adds on to other people's workload, which causes dissatisfaction and eventually conflict.
So it sounds like if there's conflict earlier, I think that might help. So yeah, so conflict might not exactly be a bad thing. But we have to control it, right? I think that's the key.
Yeah,
I think I think it's interesting that Kenneth just now was talking about like, you know, conflict as in general. I'm not sure if it's the conflict itself that's productive or not. But whereas about how you try and resolve or how you communicate after the conflict arise.
Yeah, I agree. And because there's a kind of levels of conflict, without any conflicts, there's also a problem because
Yes.
we are now in the information age and a lot of people can form their opinions. And without any conflicts, there's also a problem. Like it's just one guy or few people that is always do the thinking, which is not actually good for any agile team, right? But if you always have too much conflicts that everyone has different directions, then that's also a problem. So
Yes.
having healthy conflicts, for example, makes the team look at different perspective, but we need to manage this level of conflicts. Then, as what Joey has shared, and maybe after we should have some kind of a debriefing. Then somebody can lead, maybe a scrum master, but not necessarily a scrum master, but anyone that can lead that. Okay, this is now our direction. Maybe it's the product owner, or maybe just part of the team, the developer. But as long as the team goes to a kind of alignment of where they're heading towards, then it's good. It's a good conflict. Yeah.
Yes, I think
So
I
yeah,
agree with Kenneth. The first step is to have a common vision, common alignment of what they want to achieve. So at least they have a common goal. Then I think the next step, as Scrum Master, we probably have to, if you are involved, we probably have to facilitate them listening to one another. We also have to try to, as a mediator, to listen to both sides and make sure they are both heard and understood each other. And yeah, then I think once with the understanding, we'll get closer to a resolution.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
key point there is for everyone to have a voice and being listened to.
Yeah.
And
What
even
if what
let's say yes, yeah, even if you
sorry.
agree to disagree. I mean, this kind of cliche, but it's a good cliche. Agree to disagree. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing just to get all the perspective from each of the team member.
What if the conflicts are so serious or they've gone to a point of no return or they cannot be
Yes.
savage anymore, then
Yeah.
what do you guys suggest would be the next step forward?
So hence that's the job managers or the people or HR or whatever you call it, or those higher authorities that can make business decisions. So this
Yeah, I
is
think
kind of already a business decision.
I think if it's like very tough, like I think I encounter scenarios where the person is not a fit for the team or it's really very, very extremely difficult, or almost like I won't say impossible, but yeah, the situation is really bad and the person is very emotional. Yeah, we might consider switching teams or asking the person to leave. So this has happened before. Yeah.
So I do have a question. When facilitating conflict discussions, right, as Scrum Masters, have you ever come into a situation where you have accidentally facilitated the conflict itself?
That's where you learn and grow, I think.
Yeah, for conflict
Yeah.
resolution, it's always a unique for every team. So it depends also of the level of patience maybe for each individual, and it's either one will, I mean, the good people, the good persons will leave the team, or that you can say rotten tomato or the rotten apple is going to leave. So yeah, it's a tough decision to make, and mostly it rests on the business leader or the executives to make that kind of decision. Hence, it's really also good. We call it Gamba leadership. The executive will always be in touch on the ground of what is happening in the organization. If it's a healthy conflict, then foster it. Otherwise, if it's way out of hand, then tough decisions needs to be done.
Yeah, I think if you try to you make it worse, right? I think it's better to not it's better than not trying to de-conflict the situation. At least you try and I think usually it does sometimes I think most of the time it doesn't help. I mean if it does, but make it worse, I don't think so. I think as long as you show that you're sincere and you don't make any assumptions, yeah, then should be fine. Yeah, so we should not like give up trying to de-conflict. I think that's a part of a job of Scrum Master, Agile coaches.
I think for the conflicts that really show up or that surfaces, it's okay. But I think in Asian culture, I was just talking with my team today about this, that I think sometimes some of the conflicts are hidden or people try and sweep it under the carpet, and that might not be the best way to deal with those conflicts as well. So I think it's also trying to find a good balance between, you know, how to deal with the conflicts and when to deal with them. And I guess as time goes by and you have more experience, we'll all be able to handle these situations better.
Yeah, sounds like prioritizing, like pick your battles, right? Prioritizing which
Yeah.
conflicts yeah, agree.
Great. So hopefully everyone in the world can pick their battles as well. Let's hope that the recent affairs in the near future will not bring this topic up again. But thank you, Aloysius, for suggesting to talk about the conflict resolution today.
One question. So does what about couples? Do you think
Huh?
couples with no conflicts will
Austin, what do
There
you think?
will be strange,
What was the
or
question again?
what about like for couples?
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Well,
all
it's
of us
another thing. It's another thing, and it's not.
Mm.
It goes beyond professionalism,
Yeah, I
right?
think it's
It's
more
really
of a common goal thing.
yeah. But human beings, we are human, so we always have kind of differences of how we look at things. It's either you will influence your better half, or they will influence you, or otherwise, yeah, it will not go well together. So, three choices. You have three choices, and
I think it's a case of what doesn't kill you make you stronger for the relationship as well.
Sounds good. Okay.
yeah.
Think
Okay,
we
so time to wrap up,
Yep.
and it's a good discussion, and
See you.
hopefully everyone can learn something. To those who listen, thanks very much.
Bye.
And yeah, see you on the next session. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a nice week. Bye.